Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well this afternoon.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Let's see, it's not quite 2 o'clock yet, but I know that we have Madam Interpreter on. Which case do we have Madam Interpreter for this afternoon?
Your Honor, I'm here for Mr. Behnam Nikunejad, a Persian case.
It's position 50.
Court one, Your Honor.
Okay,
Do you want
and
me to?
who's representing Mr. Nakomajad?
Mike McLean.
Say it again.
I believe it's Mike McLean.
Okay, doesn't appear that Mr. McLean is on. Let me give him until 2 o'clock to get on, and I'll place him into a breakout room.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I believe both of the interpreters. We have a Spanish interpreter that we also need for Mr. Gutierrez.
Okay. I don't see the Spanish interpreter on as of yet, but I'll make note of that. Let me go ahead and address everyone while we wait for Mr. McLean. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We're providing you with the assistance of a public defender this afternoon if you do not have private counsel. Mr. McLean, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's my understanding that your client requires a Persian interpreter, which we have on the line. Do you need to speak with your client in a breakout room?
I do.
Okay, so can we put Madam Interpreter, Mr. McLean, and courtroom 1 into a breakout room?
Yes, Judge.
As such, Ms. Bronstein, good afternoon. Which cases are yours this afternoon?
So all of my documents just suddenly went away for no apparent reason, so let me try to get them back up. I took the first half of the poll sheet,
Okay.
trying to figure out what exactly that means. Let me get the calendar. I'm so sorry. Everything was up and then the whole thing crashed.
The SAP reset date for cases today will be February 4th. Thank you, Mr. Jordan.
We can start with position number 10, Ms. Marcus.
Okay. Ms. Chansey, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Mr. McLean is in a breakout room with another interpreter that's Persian. So as soon as he comes out of that breakout room, I'll place you into the breakout room with him so that you can discuss the next case, okay?
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you being here this
You're
afternoon.
welcome, sir.
Okay, tell me again. I'm sorry, courtroom 2. Who do we have?
Position number 10.
Number 10. Okay, are you ready, Ms. Bronstein, or do you need another moment?
I will be in just a second. I'm
Okay.
Okay, how about my notes?
Okay, very good. Good afternoon, Ms. Marcus. I am Judge Eric Morrow. Again, this is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar. You have been charged in case 25 CR 000339E with harassing communications. Let's see. Good afternoon, Ms. Jackson. Is there a history?
There is no prior arrest on file, Your Honor. They appear to meet the criteria for UJR through the jail. Nothing in addition.
Thank you. Let's see, Ms. Russell, good afternoon. Is this your case?
This is mine, Your Honor. Thank you. Your Honor, this case took place between June 19th and 2023, I believe in June 20th, 2023. Your Honor, where Miss Marcus did send text messages to Miss Cedra Hill, telling Miss Hill she needs to make her son um, do payments to her son. At some point, Your Honor, excuse me, she continued to text Miss Cedra Hill multiple times from numerous different telephone numbers. And she generated telephone numbers and had these text messaging apps continually send Miss Hill some messages. Um, and Miss Hill told Miss Marcus to stop texting her. However, she continued to text her. There were more than 20 text messages from that time period, Your Honor. And we have charged her again with the harassing communications. The victim is on, Miss Hill is on. We have spoken to her. I do believe she does want to make a statement when Your Honor lets her. Currently, Your Honor, and I'm sorry, I thought I had it pulled up. I thought she had a bond currently. Um, Apologize for that, for my notes.
2,000.
Yeah, okay, sorry. It was a $2,000 bond currently. Your Honor, we are asking that, and it's a surety bond. We're asking that bond remain the same, that she also have anger management, stay away from the victim, no contact with the victim, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while on bond as well. Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Hill, when she's ready.
Yes, Ms. Hill, if you would like to address the court, I need for you to raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down. Yes, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
I just wanted to express that I wanted Miss Marcus to be held accountable for the actions that she was doing. It had nothing to do with me or my family at all, what she had going on with my child. My son is a young adult. Will be 26. So whatever they had, she was calling. I spoke with her one time only because she kept calling, and she was also contacting my husband, and he is the one who told me to like talk to this person. So after she vented and told me whatever she needed to speak to me about, I then told my son, I had a talk with my son. Well, I guess my son naturally went back to like, why are you talking to my mother? And then that's when everything just went downhill. She was texting me from June of 2023, saying that, all kind of stuff. She was going to kill herself. I'm keeping her away from my son. I should have never told him anything. And then they just kept going. She was texting me from multiple numbers, multiple times a day, every single day, calls, trying to get us to like reach out, like respond to her, and we weren't. We would get random calls or texts saying, hey, did you text me or did you do this, trying to get us. It just wasn't sane. I was getting threats when I would be out and about with friends and my children were here with my husband or either with my mother, saying, oh, the package is coming, you want to play, or it's going to pull up, and things like that. So there was threats to my home, threats about my children. I had to let my family, my parents, my siblings know, hey, if you get calls or texts, do not answer them, don't engage. It kind of gave me a little PTSD, to be honest, because every random phone number I just was not answering. When friends would change phone numbers, I would be weary of them and say, well, who is this? Because it could very well be somebody I know, but because of this, she also somehow got a phone.
This is not the time to litigate this matter this afternoon. This is just a bond hearing. I appreciate you being here. When is the last time Ms. Marcus contacted you?
July of 2024.
Okay, so I will advise you and the solicitor's office to stay in touch with you. I'll make it a part of this order that she cannot contact you or any of your family members, okay? And you'll have the opportunity to litigate this matter as it goes forward, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. I appreciate you being here this afternoon. Ms. Bronstein?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Marcus is currently 23 years old. Obviously, as the court heard, the case is over a year and a half old. She was very young when this all occurred. She is from the area, has lived here in Atlanta her whole life. as far as family and ties to the community goes. Her mother, father, sisters, brothers, whole family is here. Graduated high school in 2020 and works as a cashier. I know we're not litigating the case today, but she did tell me basically she was dating the son of the complaining witness. She was attacked and was scared and acted in a way that was inappropriate. She did tell me that she has not reached out since June of 2023. That's also what the warrant says. So for any additional communication, certainly my office would definitely need to look at that. But even from what the complaining witness said today, nothing in at least 6 months. And with no criminal history, and the age, even with the dispute on when the last communication was, it's still quite a long time ago. We would be asking that the court consider a signature bond.
Okay, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail, no further contact with Ms. Hill or her family, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Ms. Marcus, no contact means absolutely no contact, no physical contact, obviously, no phone contact, no internet contact, no social media contact, no email contact, no contact whatsoever. If I find out that you've contacted Ms. Hill or her family, this bond will be withdrawn. Good luck to you, ma'am. Who do we have next?
Next, we got position number 20, Ms. Thompson.
Good afternoon, Ms. Tompkins. You've been charged in case 25 CR 000341C with battery, family violence, and cruelty to children in the 3rd degree.
And is Mr. McLean back?
This is Mr. McLean's case?
Yes.
Okay, we'll need to go, Mr. McLean's in the breakout room. So we'll need to take cases that are positions numbers. Ms. Bronstein?
I have 1, 2, 3. I mean, I took the first half of the poll sheet, so it should probably coordinate pretty well with the.
Okay, we'll be back to you, Ms. Tompkins.
Position number 9, Ms. Mack.
Is that your case, Ms. Bronstein?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good afternoon, Ms. Mack. You've been charged in case 25 CR 000338H with battery, family violence. Is there a history? Ms. Jackson?
She does not have any prior arrests on file, Your Honor. She appeared to meet the criteria for UJR a level 1. Nothing in addition.
Thank you. Ms. Russell?
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, this this is a battery, family violence, Your Honor. On January 20th, 2025, officers responded to 7310 Buck Creek Drive here in Atlanta. Upon arrival, officers were able to speak to Ms. Mack and to the victim, Kamarion Wilson. Your Honor, they had a verbal argument that then became physical. Ms. Mack informed the officers that she could not remember how she grabbed Mr. Wilson, but in fact that there was some sort of physical altercation. Your Honor, at some point in time when the officers were speaking to Mr. Wilson, he told officers that Ms. Mack had physically assaulted him. The officers did observe multiple lacerations to the face of Mr. Wilson and to his hands. And then that's all, Your Honor. The state is asking for a $3,000 surety bond. Stay away from the incident location, family violence intervention program, no contact with the victim, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while on bond.
Has your office spoken with Mr. Wilson?
We have called and left messages for Mr. Wilson. We also have sent a text message. We were unable to send a voice message due to the mailbox not being set up, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Wilson?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Fine. Mr. Wilson is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Yes, Ms. Bronstein.
Thank you, Your Honor. So Ms. Mack is 22 years old. She's lived here with her family for 9 years. She lives with her mom. Her mom's actually on the Zoom right now, named Mila Johnson. I brought her on because the state asked for a do not return to the incident location, and I'll go into that in a second. But as far as her ties to the community, she lives with her mom. She has 6 siblings. She lives with 4 of those siblings. She's been applying to jobs and has been to several interviews. Currently, she helps take care of the home, watches her siblings, nieces, and nephews. She is 7 weeks pregnant. As far as this case goes, I know we're gonna need to litigate it later, but she was again living at home with her mom, was sick. Now we know why. And she said that the complaining witness snatched her phone. She was trying to get it back, and that's what led to the situation. So it does seem a little bit more a little bit more back and forth than maybe what the state was saying. As far as the stay away, it's her mom's house. Her daughter lives there. I spoke to her earlier and she said that the complaining witness is no longer there and he's gone. If the court has any questions for her, like I said, she's on Zoom under Mila Johnson. So we would be asking for a signature bond for her with no criminal history and that she not have to stay away from her mom's house.
Ms. Johnson, if you're on the line and wish to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. I'll need for you to unmute yourself and activate your camera.
Hello, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am. Can you raise your right hand for me?
Yes.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before the court is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. You
Yes.
can place your hand down. Ms. Johnson, it's my understanding that you own the Butt Creek Drive address. Is that right?
Yes.
And Mr. Wilson no longer resides at that address?
Yes, sir. That's true. He no longer
And-
resides. He left yesterday.
And you wish for your daughter, Ms. Mack, to come back to that address?
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you for being here this afternoon, Ms. Johnson. I will allow her to do that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. As such, it'll be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with Mr. Wilson and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Miss Mack. Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I
You're
didn't
welcome.
hear the first part. What was it? I'm just writing it in my notes.
Okay, you're fine. $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with Mr. Wilson. Stay away from the no, not a stay away, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Who do we have next?
We can go to ACDC.
Okay. Francois, good afternoon. Ms. Bronstein's the only one that's with us right now. So do you have any of her cases that we can take?
Yes, I do. Good afternoon, Judge Morrow. I have position number 8, Ms. Jones.
Okay. And to all the ladies there, I don't know if you were with me when I instructed before. Good afternoon, I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We're providing you with the assistance of a public defender if you don't have a private attorney to represent you, to assist you if you choose this afternoon. Ms. Jones, you've been charged in case 25 CR 0000336C with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
Yes, there are 23 cycles. The last arrest was October the 3rd, 2024, with the City of Atlanta Police Department for criminal trespassing. She does appear to be on probation for criminal trespassing. That case number is 24 CR 00689 and a letter C. That disposition date was October the 17th, 2024, and the term is for 12 months. She does have prior felony convictions. It's one in 1998 for theft by taking, one in 1997 for the violation of the Georgia Controlled Substance Act, and there are misdemeanor convictions. one in 2019 for disorderly conduct, one in 2014 for criminal trespassing, one in 2011 for local ordinance, one in 2004 for criminal trespassing, one in 2001 for obstruction of an officer and battery family violence. And she appears to meet the criteria for UJR level 3. Nothing in addition.
Charged with willful obstruction of law enforcement officers. Yes, Ms. Russell.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, this incident took place on January 19th, 2025 at the Little Bear Food Market, 1660 Jonesboro Road in Atlanta, Georgia. Your Honor, the defendant was given a trespass warnings, multiple, Your Honor, from Little Bear on 2 occasions. And APD officers were able to pull up those trespass warnings. I believe, Your Honor, those are the 2 criminal trespasses that you heard from pretrial. I believe those correlate with the trespass warnings, that APD was able to pull up with their incident numbers. And those are 2 of them. At some point, the defendant was in the store location. Officers went to arrest her and told her to leave, but went to arrest her, Your Honor, because of those criminal trespasses. And Ms. Jones jolted her body back and attempted to flee. And then she resisted the arrest of Officer Grantham. Your Honor, you heard her criminal history. She was just told she just pled in 2024 to a criminal trespass, October of 2024. The state is asking for a $2,000 surety bond. No, she currently has that particular bond. No change in that. Stay away from the incident location. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol.
Thank you. Ms. Bronstein?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Jones is 62 years old. She is from Atlanta, has lived her whole life. She does have some health issues. She was not in a place where she could get warm. As the court's aware, it's been extremely cold. She did go to that location in an attempt to get warm. That's why she was there. And she said that when she was arrested, she was confused or surprised, and that's why the resisting occurred. So we are asking that the court take that into consideration. She informed me that she cannot afford any bond.
Does she need assistance with housing, Ms. Bronstein?
She might need assistance with housing.
Does she have a good address where she can get her mail?
So I asked, I don't know of a good address. If there is pretrial and someone that she could keep contact with, that I think could help. But it's not a great situation.
Okay. I wanted to have a social worker visit to assist with housing so that pretrial has a way of contacting her. I'll need for you to give her the information from pretrial so that she can initially get in touch with them. I don't want to have to keep her incarcerated, but I do want to make sure that she gets some help. Okay, Ms. Bronstein. So as such, for the criminal trespass, it'll be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 3. For the obstruction, a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 3 makes for a total of that was a $2,000, makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 3. A social worker visit to assist with housing. You're also to provide her with the information for pretrial so that she can get in touch with pretrial. Stay away from that Little Bear Food Market. and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Ms. Jones, I'm going to allow you to sign yourself out, but if you do not show up for your next court hearing, they're going to put a warrant out for you. And you cannot go back to that Little Bear Food Market, okay? They don't want you there. You've been criminally trespassed supposedly from there before, so don't go back there. If you go back there, they're going to arrest you again, and I'm not going to let you out next time. You understand me? Okay.
I'm so sorry, Your Honor. Since I'm helping out today and I don't usually do the SEA calendar, could pretrial give me their contact info, or is there a way they could chat ACDC so they can get that to her right now?
Ms. Jackson, is that possible?
I'm sorry, can she, what's the question again?
She wants to know how Ms. Jones can get in touch with pretrial so that she can reach out to you all.
Okay. When the jail is ready to release her, she's going to sign some paperwork with the address and the telephone number as to where she's to report to and the conditions before
Okay.
she's released, and she's going to get a copy. Do you need additional information?
No, I think that'll be sufficient. Is that right, Ms. Bronstein?
Yes, that'll be good. So Ms. Jones, keep that paperwork and follow exactly what it says so that you can report to pretrial, okay?
All right. Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Good luck to you, Ms. Jones.
Okay. Have a good year.
You as well.
Judge Morrow, I believe,
Yes.
Is he available?
No, he's in a breakout room with an interpreter, so that's why it's taking a little bit longer. And as soon as he comes out from that interpreter, he's going back in with another interpreter. It's my understanding. So you don't have anyone else there that's Ms. Bronstein's case?
No, I don't. Both of these ladies are going to be for Mr. McLean.
Okay, I'll get to you as soon as possible. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Ms.
not a problem. Thank you, Judge.
Okay. Who do we have in courtroom 2?
Position number 4 is Granderson.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Granderson. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000346D with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
Here's one prior cycle. The last arrest was January the 27th, 2020, out of Doraville, Georgia, for driving while license suspended or revoked. She does appear to have an outstanding hold out of Indiana for a probation violation. The date on that warrant is October the 18th, 2023. I was unable to find any additional information on that hold, but she does appear to have one misdemeanor sentence. So in 2020, she received a nolo contendere sentence out of Doraville, Georgia, for driving while license suspended or revoked. And she appears to meet the criteria for UJR level 1. Nothing in addition.
Hey, Ms. Jackson.
It's my case, Your Honor.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, I was asking Ms. Jackson, I was making sure that she doesn't have any previous criminal trespass allegations.
There were none listed in the GCIC, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Yes, good afternoon, Ms. McCockey.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Sorry about that. The incident location for this case is Speakeasy Lounge, located at 156 Forsyth Street Southwest in Atlanta. The defendant is accused of trespassing at the location when it was closed. She was with another individual named Brianna Beard. An employee found the defendant behind the bar of the lounge, and when he asked her what she was doing there, she said that she owned the business. She clearly does not own the business. The state's recommendation, given her limited criminal history, is a signature bond. Just stay away from that location. Don't go back there. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
Any objection to any of that, Ms. Bronstein?
No, Your Honor. I do have a good mailing address for her. Who should I send that to in the chat?
You can send it to me. I'll update it.
Mr. Trent? Okay. Sending that right.
All right, as such, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the Speakeasy Lounge. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Granderson.
And I'm so sorry. What's the signature bond amount?
$2,000 signature bond through the jail.
Thank you.
Mr. Jordan? You with me? Would you just let Mr. McLean know that he has another client that's going to be waiting, and that he has a number of cases that we're going to be waiting on him for also.
Okay,
I'll let them know, Judge. I'll let them know.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Ms. Grace.
No problem.
Next, we got position number 5, Mr. Greer.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Greer. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000332J with simple assault family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
Yes, Your Honor. This is going to be a bond surrender. There are 2 cycles. The last arrest was September the 11th, 2024, out of Fulton County for criminal trespassing and reckless conduct. He was out on that signature bond for those charges. That case number is 24 CR 006450 and the letter J. And there are no convictions. He appears to meet the criteria for UJR level 2. Nothing in addition.
Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, this incident took place on January 20th, 2025. The incident location is 495 Parkway Drive, Northeast Atlanta, Georgia. The victim is Angela McPherson. Miss McPherson mentioned, called police after Mr. Greer had come over that morning to see her. And at some point, Mr. Greer got upset with Miss McPherson and began a verbal altercation. At some point, Mr. Greer picked up a toy stroller and threw it at Miss McPherson's left foot in an attempt to harm her. Your Honor, I do want to point out that that September 2024 case that's pending is with the same victim, where Miss McPherson in September 2024 called 911 on Mr. Greer for throwing an object at her car window. At some point, Miss McPherson's hand was hurt. That judge, Your Honor, did a stay away from the location, and also I believe it was no further contact with Miss Greer. With Miss McPherson, Your Honor. Your Honor, we are asking for, because of the back-to-back, the back-to-back incidents, and because of the violent nature of the incidents, we are asking, he currently has no bond, we're asking for a $5,000 cash bond. Stay away from the incident location, no further contact with the victim, family violence intervention program, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol. We tried to get in contact with the victim, however, we were not able to speak with her. Your Honor, if you could sound for her. Or I'll sound for her, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I'll sound for Ms. Russell. Do you have that previous bond order before you, or can you get that before you?
I can get it right now, Your Honor. Let me get it.
Okay. Mr. McLean, while we'll continue, Mr. McLean, are you with me?
Yes, Your Honor.
While we're continuing on this case, if you'll go back into the breakout room with your next client who needs, Miss Chansey. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so if we can, Mr. McLean, if you and Miss Chansey, we'll go back we'll go into the breakout room of courtroom number 1.
Okay.
And we're getting through Ms. Bronstein's cases, so I believe that many of the rest of them will be yours. So just keep that in mind for me.
And Mr. McLean, I'm about to send you a chat real quick about the state's bond offer. It might help speed along conversation.
Okay.
Your Honor, I'm still looking for it right now. I just have here. I'm sorry, I went to the wrong screen. Greer. For some reason, I can't pull it. It's not letting me pull it up, just for whatever reason, Your Honor.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put them on hold.
I'm sorry, are you speaking to me?
This may take about 5 minutes.
Mr. Jordan, are you with me?
I am here, Joe.
Can you pull up that bond? Do you need the? Can I give you
I can give you the
That was
case.
for case 6450, J.
I can give you.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
He's got it, Ms. Russell.
Okay, all right. For some reason, it's not letting me pull it up right now.
Got a lot going on. Hold on a second, please. See if I can fix that.
Say it again, Mr. Jordan.
It had a lock on it. That's why she couldn't open it.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
People will see that. There was a $2,000 sign on bond pretrial, says stay away from 495 Parkway Drive. Third party contact to see children and no further contact with Angela McPherson.
And whose bond was it?
That was Judge Mancy.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it, Mr. Jordan.
You're welcome. Man.
If Ms. McPherson is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Doesn't appear so. Ms. Bronstein?
Thank you, Your Honor. I spoke with Mr. Greer. He is from Atlanta, has lived here his whole life. As far as family goes, his mom, dad, and his 3 children all live here. The children are all with the complaining witness. He did say they have been legally legitimated. And he lives with his mother, so he does not live with the complaining witness in this case. For work, he recently got a job washing linens and doing stocking, which is great. As for this case, he is disputing the allegation. There is no, I know the way it's charged, there doesn't need to be anything physical, but he did point that out. He's like, that didn't happen. He said he went to get his stuff so that he could leave. And the law enforcement call came. I understand that's going to have to get litigated later. We'd be asking for, I understand why the state is asking for a bond and not a signature bond in this case, but I think a $5,000 cash bond would be tantamount to no bond for Mr. Greer. And obviously, as the court's aware, for misdemeanors, the court does need to look at the financial circumstances of the individuals. So we are asking for a maybe $1,000 surety bond with third-party transfer of the children, and to reiterate what no contact means to Mr. Greer.
And can I do expect that we'll probably end up trying to revoke his bond on the other case. So I understand what you're saying, Ms. Bronstein, but I just want to let the court know that that's essentially we're going to try to revoke his bond on the other case.
Okay. So, Mr. Greer, in the previous case, you were told to stay away from that address. Apparently, you went back to that address. You were supposed to have no further contact with Ms. McPherson. Apparently, there was contact. All the time that we say that you can go back and get your belongings, we always say that you can go back on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings, okay? So you should have known better than to try to go back to that address if that's what you're trying to tell me on your own. A previous judge gave you a signature bond. I'm not going to give you a signature bond in this case. It's going to be a $3,000 good bond. No further contact. No contact means absolutely no contact. I'm not going to allow you to go back to that address for any reason, okay? No further contact with Ms. McPherson. Stay away from the Parkway Drive address. I'm not going to keep you away from your children, but there will be third-party transfer of the minor children for visitation, which means that you cannot contact Ms. McPherson for that reason. You'll have to have a third party do that. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. All right, good luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Next, we have position number 11, Mr. Melise.
Thank you. Afternoon, sir. Is that your case, Ms. Bronstein?
1 second, yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Melise. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000342E with simple battery against a police officer and 4 counts of willful obstruction of law enforcement officers. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
He has 32 cycles. The last arrest was October the 11th, 2024 in Fulton County for a P&I and obstruction of an officer. That case appeared to be still pending. There was no case number provided. It looks more like the actual booking number. And the booking number was 2417765 for that case. And he does appear to have an open case pending out of DeKalb County for obstructing an officer and criminal damage to property in the 2nd degree and criminal trespassing. And he does appear to be on probation in Fulton County for obstructing an officer in criminal trespassing and pedestrian crossing between adjacent intersections with traffic. That case number is 24 CR 006300 and the letter E. That disposition date was September the 19th, 2024, and the terms is for 12 months. He does have prior misdemeanor convictions. One in 2023 out of DeKalb County for obstructing an officer. One in 2019 out of DeKalb County for disorderly conduct. One in 2018 for disorderly conduct. One in 2015 out of DeKalb County for criminal trespassing. There's an additional one in 2015 out of DeKalb County for disorderly conduct. There was one in 2014 out of DeKalb County for criminal trespassing. One in 2013 out of DeKalb County for criminal trespassing. And one in 2007, it was first offender treatment out of Clayton County for battery and a P&I. That case was sealed January the 6th, 2009. And it appears to meet the criteria for UJR level 3, nothing in addition.
Ms. Russell. You're on mute, Ms. Russell.
Sorry about that, Judge.
No
Your Honor, this took place on January 19, 2025. The incident location is the MARTA Midtown Station. That's 41 10th Street, Atlanta, Georgia. Your Honor, at some point, MARTA officers approached this defendant, asked him to leave, and instead of leaving, he spit on Officer J. Malooly. Your Honor, as Officer J. Malooly was trying to get him to leave, other officers approached Mr. Melise, and those 3 officers tried to detain him. He resisted arrest and then fled from them. So, Your Honor, that's why he's being charged with the 4 obstructions and the simple battery on Officer J. Malooly. Currently, he has a $1,600 surety bond on counts 1 and counts 2. So it's $800 apiece. And he has signature bonds on the rest, counts 3, 4, and 5. Your Honor, we're asking that it stay as is. Stay away from MARTA. Can't write MARTA. No more MARTA. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol. Thank you.
Sponstein.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Melise is 35 years old, born in Atlanta, has lived here his whole life. He does have family nearby, mom, 3 sisters, and a 17-year-old daughter. He has gone back and forth between staying with family and being residentially challenged. I did ask him about, what's the underlying issues here, what's going on. There are some medical and mental health issues. When taking medication for everything, things go much better. I asked if he would be able to stay with family if he takes his medication. He says yes. So it does sound like he should have a stable place to go if he gets released. And also when I asked him about, work and everything, he does get disability. So it is, documented these disabilities that he does have. As far as this case goes, he did say that, he and someone else in MARTA, they were yelling. He told me that he did not intend to spit on the officer. He is missing a front tooth. Sometimes when he's yelling or talking loudly, that happens accidentally. He wanted me to make the court aware of that. And I understand the history that pretrial was saying, but we are asking that the court take that into consideration.
Okay, I want him to have a social worker visit for the possibility for BHET and for housing issues. If he doesn't make bond, he'll be back on the SAP calendar on February 4th, and I'll take another look at it then once I hear from the social worker. But as far as today goes, for the simple battery, there'll be $1,000 good bond. For each of the obstructions, there'll be a $250 good bond, makes for a total of a $2,000 good bond. Social worker visit for BHET. Stay away from MARTA, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Ms. Bronstein, if you'll make sure to tell your contemporaries on the SAP calendar to make sure to flag this for me so that I can take another look at it once I hear back from the social worker if he doesn't get out by February 4th, okay?
Yes, Your Honor. I know sometimes that information doesn't get transferred to them. So after court or after my cases are done, I'm going to send everyone an email.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Good luck to you, Mr. Melise.
Next, we got position number 7, Mr. Harris.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Harris. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000333F with loitering and prowling and willful obstruction of law enforcement officers. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
He has 6 cycles. The last arrest was January the 9th, 2024 with the City of Atlanta Police Department for theft by taking a misdemeanor. That charge was null pros on November the 20th, 2024. He does have prior misdemeanor convictions. Sworn in 2022 out of East Point, Georgia for theft by shoplifting. Sworn in 2022 out of Clayton County for 2 counts of giving false information to an officer. And there was one in 2013 out of the Virgin Islands for a DUI. And he appears to meet the criteria for UJR level 2, nothing in addition.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, this incident took place January 20th, 2025. The incident location is 562 English Avenue Northwest. Your Honor, officers were dispatched to that address because a person called in saying a Black male was entering a vacant building. Once out on the scene, the defendant who was inside the vacant building, they asked him to put his hands up and through the cracked door. Once they were able to see him and get him safely outside of that vacant building, Officer Marshall and the other officers attempted to detain Mr. Harris, and he snatched away, started running on English Avenue. Mr. Harris ran approximately 100 meters before Officer Marshall was able to tactfully apprehend him and place him in handcuffs. Your Honor, we are asking, I I saw in the system, it looked like it was a $10,000 surety bond, which I thought was I, I thought it was pretty high. So we're not asking for that, Your Honor. We are asking that this be a $3,000 surety bond, $1,500 for each charge. Stay away from the incident location. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol.
Bronstein?
Thank you, Your Honor. I spoke with Mr. Harris. He is 32 years old. He is originally from the Virgin Islands, but has lived here for multiple years. He did have stable housing. Now it's not quite as stable, which is why he went into the vacant building to get out of the cold. I kind of assumed we would get a few of these today. He did, however, give me a stable mailing address, and I did send that to Mr. Jordan over the chat. He informed me that he does not have the money for a bond. We would ask the court to consider a signature bond for him. He can get mail with the court dates. He, didn't offer any violence or anything. It was vacant. I understand he isn't supposed to be there. Stay away is fine. Just taking all of these into consideration, we are asking that the court consider UJR.
Each charge, it would be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, makes for a total of a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. I want him to have a social worker visit to assist with housing, stay away from the incident location, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Mr. Harris, I'm going to let you out, but you're going to have to make sure that you keep in touch with the court and not miss a court date. Otherwise, they're going to put a warrant out for you, okay? All right, good luck to you, sir.
I'm
Can
sorry,
we-
Your Honor. Did he have
Yes.
counts of willful obstruction?
Yes, he has 2 counts, loitering and prowling and willful obstruction. It's going to be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 on each count, makes for a total of a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial.
Okay, I thought you said 3,000. Okay, 2,000.
Yes. Okay, can we go ahead and take the interpreter cases in courtroom 1? Is that okay?
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay, very good. So who do we have first there?
This is position number 6. I think it's 6, Mr. Gutierrez.
Okay. For both interpreters, would you raise your right hands for me? Do you swear affirm that you will translate to the best of your ability this afternoon?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Gutierrez Overa. You are charged in case 25 CR 000349D with simple battery family violence.
Buenas tardes, señor Gutiérrez Olvera. Usted está acusado en el caso 25 CR 00349D por golpes y lesiones simples.
Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
¿Hay antecedentes, señora Jackson?
He has 4 cycles, Your Honor, out of Wisconsin.
Él tiene 4 ciclos en el estado de Wisconsin.
Okay. The last arrest was October the 20th, 2022 out of McFarland, Wisconsin for operating a motor vehicle while intoxicated.
El último arresto ocurrió el 20 de octubre del 2022 en McFarland, Wisconsin, por operar un vehículo automotor mientras afectado por el efecto del alcohol.
He does appear to have an outstanding hold. It does appear to have an additional open case pending, and I'm going to spell the city in Wisconsin. It's Beloit for disorderly conduct.
Y parece que tiene un caso pendiente en una ciudad de Wisconsin que le voy a deletrear su nombre. Es Beloit por conducta negligente.
Also, he appears to have an outstanding hold out of Wisconsin for a failure to appear. The date on that warrant is September the 17th, 2024.
También parece que tiene una detención pendiente en Wisconsin por falta de comparecencia en el día de la orden de arresto, el 17 de septiembre del 2024.
He does appear to meet the criteria for UJ or level 2, nothing in addition.
Parece cumplir con los requisitos para recibir una fianza bajo firma a través de la cárcel.
Ms. McConkey.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened at 828 Roswell Creek Lane in Roswell, Georgia.
Sí, su señoría, este incidente ocurrió en el 828 Roswell Creek Lane en Roswell, Georgia.
The victim in this case is Luis Sanchez, who lives in the same apartment as the defendant.
La víctima en el caso es Luis Sánchez, quien vive en el mismo departamento con el acusado.
The defendant is accused of pushing the victim to the floor after the victim confronted him about $500 that he believed the defendant stole from him.
El acusado se le acusa de empujar a la víctima, tirándola al piso después que la víctima lo confrontó pidiéndole $500 que él creía que este acusado le había robado.
The battery was also witnessed by Miss Montserrat Martinez, who was visiting the victim at the time this incident occurred.
Este incidente fue atestiguado por la señora Montserrat Martínez, quien estaba visitando al acusado en el mismo lugar donde ocurrió.
The state's recommendation is a signature bond, stay away from the incident location, no further contact with the victim, that he undergoes some anger awareness, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
La fiscalía recomienda una fianza bajo firma, que se mantenga distanciado del lugar del incidente, no tener más contacto alguno con la víctima y que se someta a una clase de manejo de la ira. Se prohíbe el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas mientras esté libre bajo fianza.
I would ask the court to sound for the victim, Mr. Luis Sanchez.
Pido al juez que se llame a la víctima Luis Sánchez. Señor Luis Sánchez, está en la plataforma. Por favor, prenda su cámara y su micrófono para que podamos escucharlo. Luis Sánchez.
Doesn't appear that he's with us. Ms. McConkey, to your knowledge, who is Mr. Sanchez to Mr. Gutierrez?
No parece estar aquí con nosotros. Señora McConkey, por favor, que usted sepa quién es el señor Sánchez con respecto, qué relación tiene con el señor Gutiérrez.
It was my understanding that they just lived together. They were like roommates.
Lo que entiendo es que vivían juntos como coinquilinos.
Mr. McLean?
Señor McLean.
That is indeed what the police report is saying, is they were roommates at one unit.
Sí, eso es lo que la policía dice, que eran coinquilinos en una unidad.
My client, Your Honor, in the future wishes to receive his mail at 824 Roswell Creek Lane, apartment A, instead of this 828 Roswell Creek Lane, with whom, at which he had formerly stayed with the other person.
Mi cliente, su señoría, en el futuro desea recibir su correspondencia en el 824 de Creek Lane Apartment, en lugar de el 828 de Roswell Creek Lane, con quien él se había quedado viviendo o estaba viviendo con la otra persona.
And to go further, even if the court feels it is appropriate to ban him physically a greater distance, he still feels that he could get his mail at 824 apartment A through his friend Alicia and find another place to live because he's young and resourceful.
Y además, aun cuando su señoría sienta que es apropiado prohibirle ir físicamente y mantener distancia del lugar del incidente, quisiera tener permiso para recibir su correspondencia en el 824, en donde tiene su amiga Alicia, en donde podrá él recibir su correspondencia desde el tribunal.
Okay.
That's all.
Eso es todo.
As such, it will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2.
Será entonces una fianza bajo firma de $2,000 a través de los servicios previos al juicio en el nivel 2.
Stay away of no further contact with Mr. Luis Sanchez and stay away from Mr. Sanchez's apartment.
Mantenerse distanciado y no tener ningún contacto con el señor Luis Sánchez y mantenerse distanciado del apartamento del señor Sánchez.
If necessary, he can go back to that apartment on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings.
Si es necesario, él tiene permiso para regresar a ese apartamento en una sola ocasión con un oficial de la policía para retirar sus pertenencias personales.
No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Se prohíbe el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas mientras esté libre bajo fianza.
Good luck to you, sir.
Buena suerte, señor.
Mr. Jordan, do you have something for me?
Can I get the apartment number? I missed the apartment number.
The 824 apartment number, the one at 824 building, the apartment number there is a letter A.
No, he needs the
No,
apartment for
I'm at
Mr. Sanchez.
Stairway.
Oh, the stay away was, let's see, do you have that, Ms. McConkey?
Yes, one second. I just scrolled to a different case. It was 828 Roswell Creek Lane. Let me look at the warrant for the apartment number to see if it's in there.
Excuse me, Your Honor. I think there is only one street address. 828 is the only one. For what the defendant told me.
Yeah,
So if you would like to clarify.
So there is no 824 Roswell
I'm
Creek
not,
Lane?
the interpreter is not sure. It seems like there is a confusion, and I would like to suggest clarification, sir.
Okay.
I'm looking on my laptop. Let's do a Google search.
Let me just ask Mr. Gutierrez, what apartment, where does Mr. Sanchez live? Where do they live together?
Señor Gutiérrez, ¿dónde vive el señor Sánchez? ¿A dónde viven ustedes juntos? En el número que me dio antes, ¿cuál era?
828.
828
Roswell Creek Lane?
Roswell Creek Lane?
Yes.
Yes.
Is there an apartment number?
¿Hay un número de apartamento?
Número A.
It's A.
Number A, okay.
A as
And-
an apple.
Okay, so he is to stay away from 828 Roswell Creek Lane, apartment A.
Entonces usted debe mantenerse distanciado desde del 828 Roswell Creek Lane, apartamento A.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Good luck to you, sir. And Ms. Chancey, thank you as always for helping us out this afternoon.
Okay. Thank you. You're welcome, sir. Buena suerte, señor.
Come on.
Okay, and who do we have next in courtroom 1?
This is gonna be position number 15. He's gonna tell you his name. Say your name.
My name is Behnam Nikuinaja.
Yes, good afternoon, sir. You have been charged in case 25 CR 000334J with simple battery, family violence, and criminal trespass.
آقای نیکونژاد، شما تهمتی که دارید، جرمی که دارید به این قضیه شماره 25 CR 00334 که مربوط به تجاوز خیلی کوچک و ورود به محلی بدون اجازه هستید.
ببخشید این
Is there a history, Miss Jackson?
آیا هیچ تاریخچه‌ای از این کار داشتید قبلا؟ دارن از خانم دادستان میپرسن.
Your Honor, he does not have any prior arrests on file. He appears to meet the criteria for UJR through the jail.
نه خیر، ایشون به نظر میاد هیچ نوع سابقه نداشتن، نه در هیچ جرم و جنایتی و نه هیچ وقت اینکه برن به زندان.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred at 295 North Peaks Drive in Johns Creek.
بله جناب قاضی، این حادثه در 295 نورث پیک درایو پیش آمد.
The victim in this case is Agdas Dagani, who is the defendant's mother.
و قربانی در این قضیه هست اقدس ایقانی که میشن مادر متهم.
مادر منم هست.
She's my mom too.
The defendant is accused of forcing his way into the residence by pushing open the door of the residence. This caused a hole in the wall.
متهم به این تهمت دستگیر شدن که وقتی که خواستن وارد خانه بشن با زور وارد خونه شدن، در هل دادن و در دیوار سوراخی ایجاد شد.
He has the right there, and
After entering the residence, he struck his mother in the face.
بعد از اینکه وارد منزل شدن، تو صورت مادرشون زدن.
I would just like to point out that the defendant also has a temporary protective order against his brother, Babak Nkoy. However, that temporary order did give the defendant the right to go back to the residence, I guess to visit his parents.
و ضمناً دوست دارم اشاره کنم به اینکه آقای متهم این TPO رو داشتن که اجازه داشتن به این منزل برن. بعد این TPO ضد نیکویی دیگه بود که به ایشون حق داد که وارد این منزل بشن.
It is my understanding that the defendant doesn't live at the residence and his brother also does not live at the residence.
و چیزی که فهمیدم این که متهم در اونجا زندگی نمی کنن و همچنین برادرشون اونجا زندگی نمی کنن.
Our office reached out to the family. We weren't able to contact his parents, but we did contact his brother Babak.
آفیسمون سعی کردن تماس بگیرن با والدینشون ولی موفق نشدن، ولی موفق شدن که با برادرشون بابک صحبت کنن.
He told us this is not the first time the defendant has been violent towards their mother, and that his parents have stated that they want no contact with the defendant and want him to stay away.
و گفتن که این اولین باری نیستش که متهم به والدینش با خشونت رفتار میکنه و میخوان که این متهم از والدینش دور باشه.
Given his limited history, the state's recommendation is a signature bond through pretrial services that he stay away from that location and have no further contact with the victim, his mother, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
و دادستان درخواست میگن که چون که شما هیچ سابقه ندارید، سابقه اجرامی ندارید، بنابراین به ضمانت شخصی خودتون قبولتون میکنن، ولکن در این بین باید شما کاملا از شخص قربانی دور بمونید، هیچ نوع ارتباطی باشون نداشته باشید و از مواد مخدر، مواد الکلی و اسلحه دور باشید.
I would ask the court to sound for the victim in this case. I would also ask the court to sound for Pegah Mabudi, who was also present when this occurred. As the defendant was trying to enter the residence, she states in the warrant that she was trying to push the door closed to prevent him from coming inside.
و دوست دارم که از دادگاه بخوام که شما را آزاد کنن با این در این قضیه، ولی همچنین هم درخواست کنیم از پگاه مبوتی که شاهدی بودن در این حادثه برامون داستانو که گفتن که شاهد بودن که در رو سعی میکرده که ببنده و شما خودتون با زور وارد میخواستید بشید.
Madam Interpreter, would you sound for Abbas Nagandi and the other individual that Ms. Makaki just mentioned for me, please?
اقدس، خانم اقدس مکانکی و پگاه مبوتی.
اقدس دهقانی.
اقدس دهقانی.
بله، من پگاه هستم.
Yes, sir. اقدس دهقانی and I am Pegah.
من اقدس دهقانی هستم.
And I am اقدس دهقانی.
This is, that's the mother.
خانم اقدس شما مادرشون هستید؟
بله.
Yes.
Okay, if you'll ask her to raise her right hand and ask her to, does she swear or affirm the testimony she's about to give, be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
خانم اقدس خانم لطفاً دست راستتون رو بیارید بالا و آیا قسم میخورید که این گواهی که میدید امروز حقیقت هست، کل حقیقت و هیچ چیز به جز واقعیت و حقیقت نمیگید، همونجور که خداوند کمکتون کنه؟
بله، حقیقت میگم.
Yes, I will tell the truth.
Okay, you can place your hand down, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
Your Honor,
دستتون رو بیارید پایین.
object.
Say it again, Mr. McLean.
My apologies. I must interject. Let me alert the court to a problem.
Okay.
I have a granddaughter, which is the daughter of my client, on the line, and she has joined us on Zoom. She tells me that the grandparents, her grandparents, are both cognitively impaired. She tells me that there is a TPO, which makes her father the caregiver, and that there is a lot of false testimony that would be a real problem if we took it under oath.
ببخشید جناب قاضی، اینجا یه مشکلی داریم. اینجا نوه خانم دهقانی رو داریم که میشن دختر آقای متهممون و اینجا میفرمایند که میدونن که یه حکمی هست برای حمایت ایشونا از پدرشون، یعنی پدرشون حکمی رو از دادگاه گرفتن بر ضد برادرشون و اینکه همچنین میفرمایند که پدر بزرگ و مادر بزرگشون دارای اهلیت کامل نیستن و نمیتونن گواهی بدن و در تحت قسم بذاریمشون.
And the reason I bring this up, I don't want to play gotcha here. The thing is, we have two sides of a family which are very diametrically opposed as to who has the rights to take care of the parents. And my client says he has the court orders to do it.
و علتی که این رو ذکر کردم اینه که چون ما دو طرف خیلی ضد و نقیض هم داریم که هر دو شدیداً دارن میگن که ما این حق رو داریم، ولکن موکل من این حکم دادگاه رو داره که ثابت میکنه که ایشون در واقع مسئول نگهداری هستن.
I'm very open-minded about the idea of an informal laying out of both sides so that we can try to figure out what we can do for these people today other than set a bond, if anything.
من کاملا آماده هستم اگه میخوایم که بشینیم با این دو طرف سعی کنیم حلش کنیم به جای اینکه فقط بخوایم ضمانتی برقرار کنیم و تمومش کنیم.
And I'm looking at the TPO right now, 25 CV 00678. The hearing for that is February 3rd.
و من دارم اینجا نگاه میکنم به اون قرار من یا حفاظتی که هست، دستور من یا حفاظتی که هست به شماره 25 CV 00678 و نشون میده تاریخ دادگاهش هست 3 فوریه.
And it does give the defendant exclusive use of the home, the incident location.
و در این دستور به متهم تمام اجازه استفاده از اون منزل که درش این قضیه این حادثه پاش شد رو میده که ایشون فقط کاملا حق اون مکان رو دارن.
But I'm not seeing anything relating to his parents.
ولی هیچ چیزی رو مربوط به والدینش نمیبینم.
He's their caregiver. And we're
You have to hold on. I'm sorry, I have to mute. So what we have is one side saying that they should be giving care to the parents, and the other side saying they have already gotten the court to agree that they should be giving care to the parents. And when I say they, I'm including the singular, not necessarily the plural. So that's the crux of the matter. I don't have any doubt that I could ask the court for a signature bond and make a good argument for that. But the next step is they're still at odds. And I think a court order may have already been violated, not by my client.
خب الان ما میتونیم قشنگ به ضمانت شخصی موضوع تموم کنیم اینجا امروز، ولی خب ما در واقعیت در یه وضعیتی هستیم که دو جهت ضد هم هستن که هر یکی داره ادعا میکنه که اون مسئولیت نگهداری والدین بزرگشون رو دارن. اینه که نمیدونم شما چی میخواید انجام بدید جناب قاضی.
And just to clarify, Your Honor, it's my understanding that Babak, the brother, he doesn't live at the house. And that's what the court order said, that he couldn't return to the house, couldn't have contact with his brother. And from my understanding, that hasn't happened. He hasn't returned to the house and he hasn't contacted his brother.
و جناب قاضی اگه اجازه بدید فقط میخوام ذکر کنم که اون TPOی که گرفتیم که بوده و ضمنش نوشته شده که بابک نباید در اون منزل زندگی کنه و نباید برگرده به اون منزل. بله، بابک اونجا زندگی نمیکنه و هیچ ارتباطی با ایشون نداشته.
And here's
okay, hold on.
من
This is all too complicated for this bond hearing. Let me go to the iPhone. Who is the lady that's with the mother there?
بذارید من برم به آیفون. این خانومی که با مادر هستن کی هستن؟
سلام، من پگا هستم. شاهد این قضیه هستم. عروسشون هستم.
Hi, I am Pega. I was the witness of this incident, and I am her sister, her daughter-in-law.
Say it again, Madam Interpreter. She's who?
I'm the daughter-in-law, and I witnessed the incident.
So, daughter-in-law? Who are you married to?
همسر من بابک نیکوییه. همسر ایشون بابک نیکویی داداش بهنام نیکویی. یعنی بابک همسر من هستن.
Babak is my husband, who is the brother of Behnam.
Okay.
پسر اقدس دهقانی.
The son of Aqdas Dehqani.
And so it's everyone's understanding that there is Ms. Makaki, it's your understanding that there is a hearing when?
The temporary protective order says that the hearing is scheduled for February 3rd. Let me just triple check that. Yep, February 3rd at 11 a.m.
And that's to continue the rights or change the rights as they exist now.
Well, it's right, I guess, to determine whether the temporary TPO will be extended and become a 12-month TPO or a permanent TPO.
Precisely.
But again, I don't see anything in the TPO regarding the parents. Unless I'm just missing it, but I've looked through it several times. I don't see anything regarding the parents.
So my client's contention is that his brother violated the TPO, which was served on him and which he signed for about an hour after signing for it. And that's the incident we're dealing with now, at the wrong place for his brother to be.
But the allegations are not against the brother, it's against the mother.
Correct.
And
Okay. I'm gonna let them work everything out at the TPO hearing. So and everyone's agreed upon a signature bond in this matter, so I am going to issue a 2,000. What does she say, Madam Interpreter?
she was saying, can I have a permission?
I'm gonna give her that opportunity. What would you like to tell the court, ma'am?
بله این فرصت رو دارید، بفرمایید. چی دوست دارید به دادگاه بگید؟
اومده اینجا یه شب جلوتر اومده گفتن نه تو اومده تو من دولی دادی آبساد دارم دیشب بود پریشب دارم اومده به زور در باز کرده زده تو گوش من نمیخواستم بیا زد تو گوش من.
Well, not last night, but night before, he was pushing the door to come in, and I was trying to push the door not to let him in. And
بابک اینجا نیست.
one night later, he came and he slapped me in my...
گفته که خونه اوه. دروغ گفته خونه اوه. خونه منه. خونه منه.
He lied that this is his house. This is my house.
من میخوام به بابک اینجا باشه. نمیخوام بهنام اینجا باشه.
I want Babak to be here, not Behnam.
از بابا دور باشه. شروع میکنم.
I want to be away from me.
داد میزنم. شروع میکنم.
He yells. He makes a fuss.
All right, thank you, Madam Interpreter. They're gonna have to work this out in another court. As far as this bond hearing goes, with a simple battery, family violence, it's gonna be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. For the criminal trespass, it's gonna be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through the jail.
پس الان به خاطر اون همون تجاوز خیلی ساده خانوادگی میتونیم با امضای شخصی که هستش به مبلغ $1,000 آزادشون کنیم و همچنین برای آزادی از این زندان به خاطر خشونت خانوادگی و اینکه وارد محلی شدید که نمیخواستنتون بازم $1,000.
No further violent contact with the alleged victim.
هیچ نوع ارتباط خشونت‌آمیز با قربانی نباید داشته باشید.
And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
و هیچ نوع مواد مخدر، مواد الکلی و یا اسلحه نباید داشته باشید که اگر نه این ضمانت رو از بین میبره.
من اصلا نمیخوام ارتباطی داشته باشه. من ازش میترسم، نه با شوهر و نه با خودم. نه با ارتباط
I
داشته
don't,
باشه. بیا نزدیک من.
I don't
من
want to have
نمیخوام
any
بیام.
relationship with them. Neither with the husband nor with him, with her or him.
They're gonna have to work this out in another court.
باید در این زمینه در یک دادگاه دیگه این موضوع رو حل کنید.
Good
And
luck
we're
to
not
you all.
able to stay away. Sorry, Your Honor.
I don't know who to believe, Ms. McConkey, so they're gonna have to
understand.
work this out in another court.
Thank you.
من نمیدونم باور کی بکنم. اینه که باید توی دادگاه دیگه این مسئله رو حل کنید.
چرا
All right.
نمیزنن الان؟ چرا نمیزنن الان؟
Okay, we're done, Madam Interpreter. This hearing's over for
Yes,
this
Your
case.
Honor. Have a good
Okay.
day.
All right.
ببخشید
Thank
دیگه قضیه وقتمون تموم شد. در یک دادگاه دیگه این مسئله‌تون رو حل می‌کنید. Have a good day, Your Honor.
thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
You're
Thank
welcome,
you.
Your Honor. Have a good one.
Who do we have next?
We can go to ACDC.
Okay.
Petition number 17, Owens.
Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Owens. You have been charged in case 25CR0000335G with fare evasion and criminal trespass. Is there a history? Ms. Jackson?
Yes, Your Honor, there are 20 cycles. The last arrest was September the 15th, 2024, out of Collins, Mississippi, for possession of controlled substance. That case appeared to be still pending. Also, there are other open cases pending. I feel like she has one up here open in Laurel, Mississippi for disorderly conduct. Also, there appears to be an open case pending in DeKalb County for giving false information to an officer and driving without a valid license and theft by receiving stolen property. And there are misdemeanor convictions, one in 2021 for disorderly conduct, one in 2020 out of Mississippi for drunkenness in a public place. And she appears to meet the criteria for UJRA level 2. Nothing in addition.
Ms. McConkey?
Your Honor, this incident occurred at the MARTA station located at 30 Alabama Street in Atlanta. The defendant is accused of entering the location without paying the required fare. She also has an active suspension that is not set to expire until March 18th, 2025. Given her numerous open cases in multiple states, the state's recommendation is a surety bond in the amount of $500 or $1,000. Stay away from all MARTA locations in compliance with any active bans, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. Given her history and her open cases, we don't think she's a good candidate for a signature bond.
Thank you. Mr. McLean?
You know, the reason she does ask the court to consider a signature bond is that she's 44. She has a Dorian Drive address in Snellville, an apartment. She lives there with her mom. She has a high school education. She has been in Georgia 10 years. She's worked in the fast food industry and in assembly, as well as doing poultry work. So she's been in a variety of Georgia industries. And considering the nature of the allegations, we would ask the court to allow her to be on a signature bond at this time.
All right, it's going to be $100 good bond per charge, makes for a total of a $200 good bond. Abide by any active MARTA suspensions, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Owens.
Judge, you said a $200 good bond?
Yes, $100 per charge.
Okay, thank you. And she wants to know about housing. Can she speak to McLean about that?
Yes, and a social worker visit to assist with any housing needs. If she doesn't make bond, I'll see her back on February 4th, and I'll readdress it at that time if necessary.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Position number 21, Weaver.
Good afternoon, Ms. Weaver. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0003438 with battery, family violence, and criminal trespass and damage to property. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
Yes, Your Honor. There are 6 cycles. The last arrest was August the 28th, 2024, in College Park, Georgia, for aggravated assault. That case appeared to be still pending. That case number is 24 PI 006325, and she does have 1 misdemeanor sentence. It's in 2017. She received a nolo contendere sentence out of Riverdale, Georgia, for possession of marijuana less than an ounce. And she appears to meet the criteria for UJR level 2. Nothing in addition.
Ms. McConkey?
Your Honor, the victim in this case is Bruce King, who lives in the same residence as the victim. That residence is 3504 Conley Street, apartment C in College Park. Officers arrived at the location the first time and spoke with the victim, who stated that the defendant had slapped his glasses off his face and tossed a bunch of items around the house. The victim stated that he just wanted the defendant to leave the residence. Officers advised him that he would have to file an eviction and they couldn't just remove her. They spoke to the defendant, who had slurred speech, bloodshot eyes, and difficulty maintaining her balance. They then advised both parties to just separate themselves and go into different rooms. Officers then responded to an injury call at the North Precinct about 2 hours later. Upon arrival and speaking with the defendant, they observed that he was bleeding and had a large cut on his head. They met with the victim, They met with the victim, who was bleeding and had a large cut on his head. The victim told officers that the defendant had started beating him with a broom, a mop, and a plate, and that he just wanted to report the incident and just wanted her gone from the residence. He did refuse medical treatment. They did advise him that he needed stitches for that laceration on his head. Officers returned back to the residence with the victim, and they tried to communicate with the defendant to see what had happened. They did state that her speech was slurred and she was slow to respond and just had some difficulties. Officers then told the defendant that she should leave, as she had told them that she did have a temporary place that she could stay. Officers did note in the warrant that they were going to take out warrants on both parties, but they were low on manpower and had high priority calls coming in, so they didn't arrest the defendant right then. They just told them to separate and asked her to leave. Officers were then called back to the location for a 3rd time because the defendant had returned and kicked down the door to the residence and tried to attack the victim again. Officers did observe that the door was damaged, and they found the defendant in the apartment over, sitting on the ground, at which time they arrested her. The documents did say that the warrant that they were taking out on the victim was for pandering. I will note that the open aggravated assault case that the defendant has is against the same victim. In that incident, she assaulted the victim by hitting him in the head with a glass bottle. She was given a $5,000 good bond in order to have no further contact with the victim, Mr. Bruce King. So she is in violation of that bond order. The state's recommendation is a stay away from the incident location, that she have no further contact with the victim, that she undergo some anger awareness, that she have no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. Given that she has an open case against the same victim, the state's recommendation is going to be for a $6,000 surety bond at this time. That is all, Your Honor. I will ask the court to sound for the victim in this case, Mr. Bruce King.
Mr. King is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Mr. McClain.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Weaver is 31 years old. Her education level is that she has had college and has graduated from an esthetician college. She has a degree that shows her skills and certifies her in doing hair doing waxing things and hairstyling and that sort of thing, Your Honor. That is also her experience working at the spa, working at the esthetician, and she's done that for several years. The prior arrests are what they are. She can stay with her sister at in Decatur on Animal Trail, and she asked the court to consider a signature bond.
Okay, for the battery, it'll be $1,000 good bond. For the criminal trespass, a $500 good bond makes for a total of a $1,500 good bond. No further contact with Bruce King. Stay away from the Connolly Street address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Weaver.
I'm sorry, Anna, can I get the breakdown of that bond again, please?
$1,000 good bond for the battery, a $500 good bond for the criminal trespass.
Thank
Okay,
you.
you're welcome. Who do we have next?
Next we have position number 20, Ms. Tompkins.
Good afternoon, Ms. Tompkins. You've been charged in case 25 CR 000341C with battery, family violence, and cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
Yes, Your Honor. It's one prior cycle. The last arrest was April the 15th, 2021 in Missouri for possession of controlled substance. That charge was dismissed on June the 24th, 2021. And she does appear to meet the criteria for UJR level 1, nothing in addition.
Which,
I-
I'm sorry,
This is
which,
position number 20, Ms. Tompkins, Mr. McLean.
that's the correct thing that I reached for. Ms. Tompkins is 22.
Hold on, Mr. McLean. We're not to you yet. We're still,
Oh.
Ms. Kakis needs to tell me what the facts are.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All right, go ahead, Kakis.
This incident happened at 2500 Pleasant Hill Road in Atlanta. The victim in this case is Decarrion Tucker. He shares a child with the defendant. The parties were having an argument about the victim watching the child. The argument then turned physical when the defendant began hitting the victim multiple times while she was carrying their minor child, who has the initials ZT. The defendant eventually threw the child on the couch in order to continue her assault on the victim while the child was sitting on the couch and crying as she continued to hit Mr. Tucker. The victim was able to call 911 and was on the phone with dispatch while the defendant continued to hit him. Eventually, the defendant took the minor child and left the location. The victim did sustain a busted lip, swelling and bruising to his face. Officers noted in the warrant that they have been called to that location about 4 times since May 15th of 2024 regarding altercations between the parties. Our office has reached out to Mr. Tucker, but we have not been able to speak with him yet. So I would just ask the court to sound for him. The state's recommendation, given the defendant's limited criminal history, is a signature bond, but we are asking that she have no further contact with Decarrion Tucker. Stay away from the incident location. I'm not 100% sure what the living situation is. The warrant did note that the defendant told the victim to leave, and he said he will as soon as he gets the chance. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. We would also ask that the defendant undergo an FEIP or at least some anger awareness.
If Mr. Tucker's on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity. Mr. McLean.
Thank you, Your Honor. I had written down, I believe that is her place of residence and that he would have left by now, but I could be wrong. I think that her education, Your Honor, she's 22 years old. She's got a high school education. She had the case in her past, which was dismissed. She works for a life insurance company as a sales agent and also does home care on private home care type of caring for people. Given those facts together with the case, we would ask the court to consider a signature bond. She tells me she's lived for 2 years at that location.
Okay. For the battery, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For the cruelty, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with Mr. Tucker. As far as the Pleasant Hill address, she can go back to that address with law enforcement. If Mr. Tucker is no longer living there, she can reside there. If Mr. Tucker is living there, then she is going to have to use that as a one-time escort to retrieve any belongings that she might have and find somewhere else to reside. Third-party transfer of any minor children, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Okay, good luck to you, Ms. Tompkins.
Next we have position number 22, Ms. Williams.
Good afternoon, Ms. Williams. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000348A with simple battery and willful obstruction of law enforcement officers. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
Yes, there are 7 cycles. The last arrest was July the 23rd, 2013, out of Morrow, Georgia, for theft by shoplifting. There's 1 felony sentence that was in 2009 out of Clayton County. She received first offender treatment for burglary. That disposition date was, I'm sorry, Your Honor. That seal date was July the 6th, 2017. And there are misdemeanor convictions. 1 in 2013 out of Morrow, Georgia for theft by shoplifting. 1 in 2008 out of Henry County for criminal trespassing. That's an additional one in 2008 out of Henry County for possession of marijuana less than an ounce. Nothing in addition.
Your Honor, this incident occurred at 3272 College Street in College Park, Georgia. I have that the victim is Miss Barbara Burley, who was visiting Danielle Doolittle. Danielle Doolittle resides at the incident location with the defendant. The defendant is accused of being drunk and combative and pushing the victim down to the floor. Officers asked the defendant to leave the location multiple times as Mr. Doolittle and the victim stated that they did not feel comfortable with her being there, given the way that she was acting. As I stated, asked her to leave and she refused to do so. When officers tried to arrest her, she refused to put her hands behind her back. Our office has spoken with Ms. Burley, who confirmed that she doesn't live at the location and was just in town visiting her friend. She did confirm the incident, the events in the warrant. Our office then spoke with Mr. Doolittle, who hopped on the call and stated that the defendant's behavior is escalating. He stated that it started off as verbal issues, but now she is becoming physical. He states that he is the leaseholder and he was allowing the defendant to stay with him. He states that he no longer wants contact with the defendant and wants her to leave and stay away from the residence and get a one-time police escort to retrieve her belongings. She currently has a $1,200 surety bond. We are asking for no further contact with the victim, Barbara Burley, that she undergo some anger awareness, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. I will leave the stay away in the court's discretion. Mr. Doolittle has indicated he is the leaseholder and wants her to not come back to the residence, but he is technically not the victim in this case, so I will just leave that in the court's discretion. I would ask that you sound for Ms. Barbara Burley.
Ms. Burley is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Mr. McLean.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Chaka Williams is 36. She's lived in Georgia for 15 years, which is making her pretty local these days. She does have a high school education, graduated from Lovejoy High School in Clayton County. Her job is with a flagging company. She's certified to do that. It's very important work on the highway. And she also works through a temporary agency called Staff Zone. And she would like to ask the court to consider lowering that existing 600 and 600 down to a signature bond.
Okay. For the simple battery, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For the obstruction, a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with Barbara Burley. Stay away from the College Street address. She can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Williams.
Next, we have position number 19, Mr. Rico.
Do we want to do this one last or turn off the Zoom
Okay.
recording?
Can we turn off the YouTube for this?
You say turn off the YouTube, correct, Judge?
Yes, is that what you want, Mr. McLean?
That'd be fine, Your Honor, yes.
Okay.